move. You'll have to move from in front, both of you. Sorry? Yeah, I know. I just feel that maybe this campaign and that one is the...
is the autocue going to work? In that case, will you go to the right place?
Come together.
No, it's the wrong place. Go up to the top. Amit ji, you were saying just a short while back how you're starting to see the impact of the Swachh Abhiyan in many places that you're seeing. Anecdotally, you can see the impact happening.
I don't know whether it's being observed by others or not, but I just felt that every time I'm traveling to either within Mumbai or parts of Mumbai which are traditionally known to be very filthy and dirty, suddenly looking a lot cleaner. And many of the cities that I visit, and you must be visiting them a lot more than I do, I just find that there is a general cleanliness about the place. People are more conscious. The streets, the roads are looking a lot cleaner, and I hope this continues.
No, absolutely, because there's still a long way to go. Maharashtra,
yeah.
I think, is a little ahead of some of the other states in the cities, so, let's hope it rolls out. Now, we are here at the Vijayanagar Society in Andheri East in Mumbai. We've just visited a few homes to see how they are following the two bin, one bag policy. We have a large crowd out here, residents of the society, and you need the applause. Quite frankly, Amit ji, I think you'll agree that आप लोगों ने जो यहाँ करके दिखाया है पूरे देश के लिए एक मिसाल है. I think Amit ji, you would agree with that.
बिल्कुल, ये एक बहुत बड़ा उदाहरण है आप लोगों ने यहाँ कायम किया है. और मैं चाहूँगा कि आज के इस कार्यक्रम के बाद जितने लोग इस कार्यक्रम को देखेंगे वो पहचानेंगे कि आप लोगों ने एक सोसाइटी की तरफ से कितना नेक काम किया है, न केवल इस अभियान के लिए, देश के लिए, अपने सोसाइटी के लिए. और मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ कि अगर ये उदाहरण जो है जगह जगह फैलाया जाएगा तो मैं चाहूँगा कि और भी सोसाइटीज जो है वो आपके उदाहरण को देख करके उसी तरह काम करें जिस तरह से आप काम कर रहे हैं. बहुत बधाई आप सब लोगों को एक बार.
All right, now we have a panel of experts who are now going to be joining us to help us understand what we can do with waste management. Now, if you actually look at it, and if you take a look at the ways you can deal with the growing mountain of filth, the best way to do it is to separate. So you can recycle, you can reuse, and you can compost. Now, according to the Central Pollution Control Board, out of the 70% total solid waste collected in the country, only 12% is actually treated. The rest just goes into landfills. Today on our panel, we have some of the biggest experts in this area. Swati Sambyal from the Center for Science and Environment, who's co-authored a book, Not in My Backyard. Thank you so much for being with us. We have Manisha Maiskar, who's, if we can just see that. Manisha Maiskar is Principal Secretary, Urban Development at Maharashtra. Pinaki Mishra from Ernst & Young. Paul Seong from USAID. Great to have you with us as well. Also, Chitra Hiramat from Garbage Free India is with us as well, who's done a lot of work in this area. Before I come to all of you, let me just get your take, Nitish, on the problem of waste management. Why is it that this is something which you think should be one of the focus areas? We've been talking a lot about toilets and about that and open defecation as one of the main streams of Banega Swachh India.
Yeah.
Waste management, though, also important.
I think this is where it starts, right? I mean, basically, you will never have a Swachh Bharat unless everyone is making sure that whatever it is that they're responsible in terms of managing their waste are not fully engaged. And I think that basically, over a period of time, there is only so much in terms of generating awareness. When the rubber hits the road, it's the people that have to take the responsibility to say that I'm making sure that whatever it is that I can influence, I'm doing in a manner that there is no waste. And I think today what we've seen is a fantastic illustration of people really taking that responsibility on a large scale with very little investment we saw, but making a massive impact.
Right. Swati, if I can get you in on that point. So you've written this book, and I'm sure Amit ji also has questions for you. You've written this book, Not in My Backyard, Solid Waste Management in Indian Cities. How big is the problem and how can it be, I'm sure it can be solved if we all set our minds to it?
Well, of course, in our studies, the problem is really enormous. As you said, of the 62 metric tons per year that is generated in our country, 70% is collected and only 10% is treated. So of course the momentum has picked up, but then there's really a long way to go in it. But I'm glad that people have started taking initiatives, cooperators have started taking initiatives. There are success stories from nooks and corners of the country. So of course that is really picked up. But of course it's a huge issue and we all have to join hands in it. It's not one person's job to solve it.
Right.
I just like the title of your book. And I
Yes.
want to ask you why you chose that kind of language.
This comes
Because
from...
I'm sure it goes a long way in,
Yes.
in covering the
Yes.
the
I
main
think-
idea of the campaign.
I think the entire issue with waste management is about not in my backyard. If I throw something at your doorstep, you know, you'll be like, not in my backyard. And probably that has led to a gargantuan problem. We all don't want waste in my backyards, but we forget to, you know, realize the fact that our backyard is someone's front yard. So that's why not in my backyard anymore.
Yeah. And I think, Vikram, this is one of the most important, well, philosophical or psychological kind of training that we all need to understand.
Yes.
I can clean up my place and throw it in somebody else's front yard or backyard
Yes.
and not bother about it. But how wonderful if you could not only just look after the place that is in front of us, but also in front of somebody else and set an example, even if they're not following it. And therefore this whole, you know, thinking that, oh, मेरी जगह साफ रहे, दूसरे के गंदा रहे, मुझे उसकी कोई परवाह नहीं है. I think that we have to get out of that kind of thinking. And if we can also volunteer to just go across and clean up somebody else's mess, it would set a very good example. And I'm sure that in time to come, that person would also learn that, you know, somebody else is doing my work. I need to get down and start doing it myself.
Exactly.
Right. Manisha ji, ये जो अमित जी कह रहे थे कि अपना ही साफ करना, that's only part of the problem. You got to make sure that you spread the thing elsewhere. The issue of solid waste piling up, to what extent is that, to your mind, one of the serious issues? Because one thing which is linked with that also is plastic. Plastic and plastic waste is one of the biggest environmental hazards that we see, and it leads to so many other impacts as well.
I think when Modi ji dreamt of a Swachh Bharat on the Red Fort, he was probably voicing the aspiration of every single Indian. And therefore we see a lot of people's commitment to Swachh Bharat. I think Vijayanagar is a very outstanding example. So far as Maharashtra is concerned, we are completely committed to it. And what, sir, you said, we are now requesting societies such as Vijayanagar to be ambassadors and pioneers and take the message elsewhere.
Okay.
The 250 odd towns that we have in Maharashtra, we propose to start this campaign across all towns from 1st of May, which also happens to be Maharashtra Divas for us.
As we were discussing just to add, we were discussing a little while earlier that if they're going to be ambassadors and going to be examples, maybe they need some kind of an incentive as well.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Both their points of a concession in property tax and an arrangement by which bids are made, I will straight away go back and convey it to my Chief Minister, and I'm sure a decision would have been taken in the next 4 weeks.
Hopefully Fadnavis Saab is watching this program. So Fadnavis Saab, ये सुझाव है इनके तरफ से, आप सोच लीजिए, इस पे विचार कर लीजिए और शायद फैसला आप जल्दी सुना पाएंगे इन मामलों पर. I just wanted to ask you also about the problem of garbage. आपको क्या लगता है कि ये जो problem कितनी बड़ी समस्या है और क्या किया जा सकता है?
Should I answer in Hindi?
हिंदी, इंग्लिश, जो भी
See,
आप.
what we found, जब हमने 2013 में ये शुरू किया, it actually started in Calcutta because it was just started by some citizens who just felt very strongly about what was happening in terms of the garbage that was piling up every nook and corner. Actually, we feel that the problem has been twofold, and what we've understood is, one is at the micro level, which is there's a lack of involvement of individuals, and there's a lack of knowledge from those people who do want to do something but are not sure as to how they can really responsibly dispose of their waste. On the other hand, at the macro level, we have landfills which are unable to take the load. We have a lot of garbage being generated. Almost 9,000 tons is just generated in Bombay city itself. and it's a very unscientific method of disposing of. So we really are looking at empowering individuals, societies, and when we visited Vijayanagar 2 years ago, we have used them as a model to inspire a lot of other communities, and our initiative is basically to empower every Indian to become waste empowered and to look at this as his own personal responsibility rather than look at the government or the municipal corporation or XYZ individual who can really address this issue. So that is what Garbage Free India's mission is, and we hope to see India a waste empowered nation in the coming years. And to release the wealth which is there, which is 70% of our waste which is going is wet waste, which is completely biodegradable.
All right, I'm going to take a break right now, but lots of schools also taking part, and there's lots of people outside. When we return after the break, I think we can go across, and there are lots of young children and young kids who are really been, I think, the heart and the soul of any of the campaigns.
Absolutely,
that we've been doing. So they're waiting to talk to us, so we'll do that when we come back just after this break.